Welcome to World of Marketing Podcast, a Foster Web Marketing production. Here's your host, Tom Foster.
Hey everybody, it's Tom Foster in the World of Marketing, and I'm super excited to have my buddy Antonio Gaston.
There you go.
Did I say it right?
Yes.
I just call him Antonio. So,
Yes. Everybody else does.
Yeah, I heard the story last night, like an entire hotel at your, what was it, your reception?
No.
What
It's
was that?
actually our honeymoon.
Oh, your honeymoon. You had the whole place chanting your
Yeah,
name.
we went down to Mexico for our honeymoon to the state of Oaxaca.
Yeah.
And we were at this all-inclusive resort, and they had activities for everybody and for all the guests, right? And well, basically all the activities at the pool and at the beach. Well, I was kind of the guy that got well known by everyone, and to the point where after a few days, whenever there was an activity, everybody would cheer along and support to win that particular event.
That's so funny.
So it was fun.
Well, you're a very charismatic and likable guy. Since you've been a client of ours, I mean, everybody, the whole team has just been love Antonio. Love Antonio.
Well, I love them, and we love you
Oh,
guys. You've been very, very responsive, very, very enthusiastic about our work and the type of work we do, and help us with our website and with our whole marketing strategy.
And so your work, you do a little bit, you're an estate planner, but you have a unique practice.
We have a unique practice. We're international estate planners, and we're also international business attorneys.
Right.
We focus on foreigners, and specifically Latin American matriarchs and patriarchs and families that come to the U.S. to invest, or whose children are either born in the States, they're married to U.S. citizens, or are here for college, or they have moved temporarily for security reasons. And those are the people that we work, because when the estate tax hits them, well, not only are they going to have to pay taxes for what they have here in the States, but also there's a great risk of having all their assets outside of the United States get sucked into this the tax system here. And if
double taxation.
Well, not
just a
only that,
mess.
but perhaps like in Mexico, there's no estate tax at this point. In a lot of other Latin American countries, these are families that have created these incredible companies that work worldwide, and can or have afforded them the opportunity to live the lifestyle that they do. And that's what continues to feed the children and the grandchildren, and allow them to go wherever they want to go anytime they want to. And all of a sudden, cousins are in the States and other cousins are staying back. And so the least thing that they want to have is to have that family business tore up by taxes, just because somebody moved to the U.S. And when these grandchildren start running the business, they want to take advantage of the business, but not subject the business to all these, 40-50% taxes. So,
And it's, with globalization, that's just...
the world has gotten just smaller.
And very fast.
Yes, and our clients, like you and I, perhaps might get in the car and go, drive 400 miles and, 4 or 5 hours. They get on a plane and fly, 8-10 hours to wherever they want and need to go.
Right.
So they're truly, our clients are truly worldwide travelers.
Yeah.
They're worldwide citizens.
So, and you've written a book.
Yes,
And
I
it's
have.
in Spanish. You wrote it in Spanish, right?
Yes, and we're working on the
I know,
English
it's the
translation too.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's actually our second book.
Oh, okay.
I wrote the first one about 7 years ago in 2012, and this year, 2019, I wrote this book now.
What's the book? What are the names of the books?
It is the first one. It's all in Spanish,
Right.
And the first one is Planeación Financiera y Patrimonial Internacional, and this last one is El Libro Azul Definitivo de Planeación Patrimonial para Millonarios Extranjeros. So basically is the definitive blue book.
First of all, that is just so cool. How you just like go back and forth like that, like it's no big deal.
Yes.
This is really cool.
Well, I grew up with it. So
yeah, it's so cool. Every time I love it. Good.
Yeah. And so it's the definitive blue book for estate planning for foreign millionaires. That's basically the translation. And as we speak, we're working on the translation into English.
Right.
These two books remain the only two books in Spanish on the subject out there in the market in the U.S.
Yeah.
Although, they can have them if they come to our website.
Sure. I mean, an estate planning is, I'm not going to say it's difficult. Well, I'm sure many of them are difficult. I don't mean to say that. I just mean to say that in and of itself, it's a legal exercise here in the U.S. that can be difficult, but attaching the international piece on top of that, the language barrier, dealing with, as you said, the different governments, the different tax systems.
But I think what's most unique about everything is not so much that the laws and the taxes may be different. Is that each family is unique.
Oh, that's true. Mm-hmm.
And each family has their own dynamics. And it's trying to understand those dynamics that we really focus, because we have a lot of clients that come in and say, hey, I want the same thing that my
that doesn't work. We
that
get
my
that
brother
too.
got, and I want the same thing that
Right.
my compadre got.
Right.
And well, my dad did this, and I want to do the same thing. Except even though they have a similar, whether it is upbringing, they run the same social circles, or have similar lifestyles, when you get down to it, the inner workings of each family are completely different. You have some people that trust their spouses, others that don't, or people that trust all their children, and some that perhaps not.
Yeah.
And or the in-laws, or whoever married my daughter, I want to keep everything secure.
You're just talking so delicately about it. Right? But yeah, it's like,
well,
some
I don't
people
want to
just
offend
don't
anybody.
Like it. Right, for sure.
Right.
But that's true of like estate just here in the U.S., but the added difficulty of the language, right?
Yes.
And the added difficulty, and like just what I was just pointing out is your ability to go back and forth and think in both languages, and what I'm sure that's very helpful in negotiations and mediations.
Yeah, well, both Maria, my wife, and I, grew up, I guess what people, for lack of a better word, calls border babies. Mm-hmm. So we grew up, we were born in the States, right? But we grew up in Mexico, right along the border. My wife more closer than I did. She grew up in the McAllen-Reynosa border.
Which isn't that oil country?
Oil country, yeah. I thought she was an old person.
Right, I love this stuff.
An old tycoon, or my father-in-law was an old tycoon, and turned out that he just worked for them.
She's sitting right over here.
Yeah. But, well, that's the luck of the draw, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, we've been married for 28 years.
Rich in different ways.
Yes,
Very
yeah.
good.
But, we're here after 28 years, and we hopefully get another, 30 going.
Right. But being like what you said, what a border baby, that gives you kind of a better perspective on that duality in the language.
Yes. I grew up on the other side of the country in Baja California, and Ensenada, which is a port city.
Right.
And it's only about 70 miles south of the border. And so growing up, going across the border to San Diego for me was, an everyday or every week occurrence. So to me, it wasn't that big of a deal, right?
Right.
I mean, my mom used to grocery shop in San Diego every week.
Wow.
Right? Even the milk was purchased across the border. And so we grew up with this mentality of binational, bicultural. That's probably why our slogan is, we speak your culture, because not only do we speak your language, but we also understand that, right? And also, our professional life, our education, we're licensed in both Mexico and the U.S., so we can go back and forth that 2,000-mile border without any problem and understand the legal systems on both sides.
Right.
And but more than anything, we believe we share your culture with our clients, or our culture with our clients, and we think that's a plus that we have that maybe other attorneys, other big firms might not have. And I think definitely that's an advantage.
Well, no big firms have what you have. I mean, you guys are a boutique.
We're a boutique law firm, yes.
Boutique firm,
Yeah.
and you're not a volume-based business. You're a quality-based business.
No.
Right.
Our type of client, they want to be, taken by the hand, explained everything. They want. I think the most important thing that they want from us is that they know we're available to them whenever they need us.
Right.
And that's something that we work for, and we work towards making sure that we're available to them whenever they need to talk. Whenever they call us, they talk to us. They don't talk to, an associate or a paralegal, or they talk to us.
Right.
They don't deal with anybody else, and they want to have a guarantee or the security that they'll be talking to the right person.
And so you also work with financial planners?
We do. We
You have some experience and background in that?
Yes. I took a detour in my career back in...
Haven't we all?
Yes. In 2001 with the 9/11 situation. All of a sudden, I was doing all this work for big American corporations down in Mexico. And all of a sudden, with 9/11, everybody pulled back. And so I went with 6 months without business, just account receivables, And after giving it much thought, I didn't want to continue trying to grow a new practice locally. At that point, I was in Tijuana with an office, after having worked at the law firm in San Diego as well. So I decided that I was going to quit and that I was not going to practice law anymore. And I came in one day to the office. I had another attorney and a couple of attorneys working for me, and I said, what you have here, what you see here, is all yours. Take it. I picked up my laptop and walked away.
That's brave.
And that was it. I didn't know what I was going to do.
But you were just done with that.
Yes, except that the life insurance agent that was, or my life insurance agent at the time, suggested that, hey, I thought you'd be good at this. It's like, I don't think so. But, he wined me and danced me and said, okay, if I'm going to open a business, why not give this a shot? He said it was more of advising people and kind of continue what I was doing. And I said, sure. And if it hadn't been for that, I wouldn't be here today.
Right.
Which is funny how the world works, right?
Yes.
And so I started getting into the insurance and the financial services field in 2002. And I still hold my licenses, my securities license, my insurance licenses to this day, except I'm thinking about giving out my securities licenses because of the conflict of interest now that I can create for my clients.
Yes, you and I talked about that.
Right. Yeah, that I don't want to create a conflict of interest now with the OECD after, and CRS going after people that try to plan in order to, keep their privacy when they're banking or when they're investing. The OECD and all these local governments are trying to make it as if everybody is a crook. And the only reason you plan is because of some sort of illegal purpose. And it isn't the case, at least not in my client's case. It's We have clients that like to preserve privacy and also for security purposes. In Latin America, information gets leaked all day long.
Sure.
And so that serves, the bad players, if you will.
Sure.
And that gets into, extortions, kidnappings, and whatnot. That why expose yourself? And this is something these new, I don't know, for lack of a better word, technocrats around the world think that, like the Panama Papers, they thought everybody, whoever came up in those papers was doing something illegal, when the reality is that they weren't. In fact, if you look at the stats of how much money has been collected in back taxes because of it, it's only about less than $200 million. So if all these dozens and dozens of rich people were found out, right, that they were doing something, why haven't they collected anymore, right? And it's funny because also the people that I guess cried the most and complained the most were a lot of the Europeans. And a lot of Europeans are the ones, especially in the UK, are the ones that actually have paid back taxes the most. Not these Latin Americans, right, that were doing it mostly for estate planning purposes to hold property in the States because they don't want to be exposed to high taxes. And, everything is legal, and all of a sudden they're, first front page news on their local papers down in Mexico or wherever they live.
Sure.
And so, we try to make sure that not only they don't show up in the front page anymore, but they're still able to do the same thing as they were doing. And but now the laws are different; they're changing, and the restrictions, and we're trying to, make sure that not only that we avoid those rules, but we avoid them by not even being subject to the law to begin with.
Right.
And that's what we try to do. It's not subject them to the laws that apply to everybody else if they were just to walk into a bank and say, hey, I want to open an account. So.
Very good. So what is some of the next campaigns that you're working on? Because you're a marketing guy, a marketing lawyer, right?
Well, I try to.
Yeah.
I say market. I try to let people know that I'm here or that we're here to serve them. Mm-hmm. And if that's marketing, then so be it, right? I'm a marketer then, right? But we try to stay in touch with our clients. We like long relationships with them. And we don't want just do your estate plan and say, see you later.
Well, you have a lot of clients that refer you a lot of business.
Correct.
That's the name of the game.
That's the name of the game. And most of our clients, and so far, has been through referrals.
Right.
But our next campaign is we're trying to stay in much better touch with them.
Right.
We're launching our first print newsletter coming up in a week or so. And so we're trying to make sure that they get it. And
make sure I'm on the list.
You are.
Okay. Good.
So that's our first.
And you did that email that we talked about.
Yes.
About
Thank you for that.
Julio, right?
No, it was Jose.
I'm sorry, Jose. That's the second time I said it wrong. Jose.
Yes.
Who is a famous Latin American Mexican singer.
Yes. Yeah. And I sent out the email and. I got a good response from everybody, and even a few financial advisors came back and said, hey, we need to talk, right? Yeah. So, which is great.
Right.
Which is great. And so now that we go back home and, during next week, we're probably going to start talking to them and see how we can help them.
For sure.
We work with a lot of financial advisors and their clients. We make sure that whatever they're doing with their clients is correctly done, not only in terms of the financial aspect of it, because we don't get too much involved.
Sure.
Although we could if we wanted to, but I don't want to get involved in that. But we make sure that it's done correctly from an asset protection standpoint.
So if somebody would like to work with you, how do they do that?
Well, they usually give us a call.
Okay.
And lately I've been asking everybody to go to my website instead of calling us.
And that's Meg Lawyers?
No, that's megastelum.com.
Okay, you got to spell that for these people.
MEGASTELUM. So it's M-E and my last name. MEGASTELUM.com.
There you go.
Right, and we've created quite a bit of content that's in the website for people to use in both English and Spanish. We have everything that you see in Spanish. It's in English, except for the book, but we're working on that.
Yeah, you're working on it.
But everything else, it's there in both languages that people can read and download or request to be sent to them. And we love to hear back, see what they think of it, and if they have any questions, we'd love to talk to them and answer those questions.
And I encourage anybody that's listening to this, Antonio's just a great guy and very open, and you're also a pretty technical guy, and you created some systems for a lawyer.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
But you use Clio, and you've worked with us to help with that interaction with the API between DSS and Clio.
I like technology. Actually, I built the computers in our offices.
There you go.
Somehow, a long time ago, I wanted a very specific computer that could do, all the office work, but also I wanted it not for gaming, but for doing videos and be able to do videos for marketing and to put up on our website. We're talking several years ago, and about 4 or 5 years ago. So I remember I quoted this computer to some outfit up in Seattle or near Seattle, and they came back with a $5,000 quote. And I said, "Oh, that's quite a bit." So I did. And I like tinkering with things and building things. And let me see how difficult can this be, right? And I went into YouTube, looked at some videos, learned how to do it, and I built the computers. So now I'm in the process of expanding and updating our computers.
So you're going to be a computer? So your wife's is next. That's what she said. Hers is the next one to be.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, because I built computers in my past, too, and made a living on it. I think you can make a little bit more money practicing law.
Yes, of course.
So,
I do that.
That's your hobby.
I do that on the weekends.
Well, that's pretty cool. But you're a technical, smart guy. And you've had a lot of experience back and forth between the U.S. and Mexico, but Latin America. So anybody that's listening that is interested in talking to Antonio about how he does his estate planning practice internationally, or has this need or has clients like this, you'll help these guys.
Yeah, we get calls. We're members of Wealth Counsel, and we get contacted by our colleagues frequently to not only deal with matters in Mexico for their clients, but also when they have international clients themselves. They're always asking, okay, what do I need to do? Is it okay if I do this or not? And so the community at Wealth Counsel is a good community of attorneys trying to help others. And so that's what we try to do. And we try to give them advice and collaborate with them with some. And with others, we just tell them what to do, and others decide to just send the client over to us. So it's a good deal.
You're there to help.
Yeah.
Well, Antonio, thank you so much. Anything else you want to share with?
No. Except that, again, I don't know how many times I've said it, we're very, very, very happy with your company and the services that you guys gave us, and that you continue to give and provide for us. I can truly say that you're second to none.
Well, thank you. That means a lot.
And I searched for you. I think I told you this already. I searched for you for about 2 or 3 years, and I couldn't find you because I didn't know who you were. And I'm glad I did.
Well, I'm glad that we have met and we have been working together and we have a good time.
Yes.
And
and many more to come.
And my staff loves working with you too. So, looking forward to lots of more campaigns and lots of fun.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Antonio.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Tom.
All right, everybody. Tom Foster and my good friend Antonio, the world of marketing. See you soon.